Good morning, my friends and TV viewers, family, friends, followers, etc. Today is going to be a little bit longer than usual because I figure we have a lot of different ideologies. Now, in the United States, have 40 to 60% people that identify as Christian. My atheist friends can follow as well, but it's not to try to induce anyone to become a God believer or not. What we need to do is understand Christian ideology and philosophy from the root. Because today we have many flavors. It's almost like computer programming. We have so many different languages and so many different ways of doing things. And the problem is that in Christianity, we have one original way, and it's not what conservatives are claiming that it is. So we have to go back and we have to start. We have to start by understanding that the book that we're all reading, was written by men. Now, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to go ahead and read for you guys the first chapter of the Gospel of Matthew so I can make my point. All different Bibles pretty much say the same thing. So it doesn't matter whether you're Baptist, Lutheran, Christian, Catholic, most of our main currents read pretty much the same. Now, here we go. Let me see. Here we go. This is the genealogy of Jesus, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, Judah the father of Perez and Serah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez, the father of Hezron, Hezron, the father of Ram, Ram, the father of Amminadab, Amminadab, the father of Nahson, Nahson, the father of Salmon, Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed, the father of Jesse, Jesse, the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. Solomon, the father of Rehoboam, Rehoboam, the father of Abijah, Abijah, the father of Asa, Asa, the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat, the father of Joram, Joram, the father of Uzziah, Uzziah, the father of Joam, Joam, the father of Az, Az, the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah, the father of Manasseh, Manasseh, the father of Ammon, Ammon, the father of Hosea, and Hosea, the father of Hachonias and his brothers, and at the time of the exile to Babylon. After the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel, the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel, the father of Abiud, Abiud, the father of Eliakim, Eliakim, the father of Azor, Azor, the father of Sadok, Sadok, the father of Akim, Akim, the father of Eliud, Eliud, the father of Eleazar, Eleazar, the father of Mathan, Mathan, the father of Jacob, and Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, and Mary was the mother of Jesus, who is called the Messiah. Thus were 14 generations in all from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile to Babylon, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah. Joseph accepts Jesus as his son. This is how the birth of Jesus the Messiah came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill that the Lord had said through the prophet, the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took Mary home as his wife, but he did not consume their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. Okay, so here we have a pretty well written first chapter. Did anybody catch the fact that we already have a problem here? Now, the problem that we have, number one, we have 14 generations, right? And in reality, it's not whether it's 14, 14, and 14, you know. It was just something important to the Jewish community. There were numbers had a significance. Like 7, I know, was for perfection. 6 was less than perfection. So I don't know, I'll be honest, at this point in time, the meaning of 14, but it's obvious by the writing that 14 had a specific meaning for them. And the writer is trying to fit in with the culture. He's not really trying to be accurately correct, because had he done so, he would have sat down with Joseph or Mary and said, hey, so tell me. But he did not. He could not. He wrote this 30 years after Jesus' death, which I assume by that time Mary must have been dead, and so would Joseph. So who would sit down and tell them the generations? Maybe someone in the family, but it certainly wasn't Mary or wasn't Joseph. Now, the other thing that we have to worry about or consider is that, hey, wait a minute. Up to Joseph, there's 14, 14, 14. How about Mary? Was it 14 generations also? Because we really don't know where Mary came from. We assume that she also came from Abraham. But if she did not come from Abraham, then, you know. Now, this is not, the attempt here is not to invalidate the writings of the Bible, but to learn to read it as it was written. It was written as a cultural, political, and religious document. It was trying to, the writer, because remember, I'm not, if this was written in the 30 years after Christ or not, you know, they're trying to populate, they're trying to convince people that Christ is the Messiah. And what better way than to make things fit, you know? And we as men, we culturally, we do this a lot. You know, I remember, just to put color to a point, I was working in a factory where the owner was an old Jewish man, and they used to tell me, no, because I saw him and I was like, man, this guy is older than my grandfather when he retired. My grandfather retired around 79, 75, 79, something like that. But he was really old when he retired. And people used to tell me, oh no, this old man is sharp as a tack. You know, you're looking at the books, and if there's 5 cents missing, he's like, hey, what happened to this 5 cents? This is what I was told. Okay? Lo and behold, a couple of years after I was working there, we had the 9/11 attacks, and the bank had to go in to look at the books. And they found that the company had 3 different sets of books. One for the owner, one for the customer, and another one for themselves. And neither of the 3 books was accurate. In average, they were missing $5 million. So they were not able to run by the old man 5 cents, but $5 million, obviously, yes. And this is how men work. We tell each other things, and then we believe them and we write them as if they were a fact. Because the person that told it to you is a person that you trusted. The problem is that we are all guilty of that. And we don't take that into account when we're reading the Bible. That, hey, these are people writing about a radical shift in the Jewish religion, okay? So they cannot afford to be honest in all of their writings. They have to be culturally correct. Because if they're not, the other Jewish people would just close the door on their faces. So they have to have a selling point, a marketing, if you will. And I mean, it sounds really bad, but it is not. It is the way that the whole Bible is written. You know, when in the Old Testament they talk about how lepers, you know, they wear their sin in their scars in their face and whatnot, the lepers, and they're like, no, leprosy is not a sin, it's an illness. But back then they didn't know any better, so that's how they wrote it. Now, had God actually illuminated these people to write this, he would have been wise enough to say, yeah, no, that's not a sin, you know. But again, these people did not know. And the fact that we have to accept is, yeah, they were looking for a God. They were looking for a place in God, in their culture, where it would set for law and order and coming from the highest authority. Now, this does not mean that Jesus did not exist. No, he did. And he promoted pretty good ideas. Very good ideas. Now, were they original? No, because a lot of those ideas had been presented before. Is this to stop believing in God? No, not necessarily. You can believe in God. It's just that we have to look at the readings and what was surrounding the authors while they was writing this, so we can look through the hay and find the real Jesus. Not the Jesus of the corporations, not the Jesus of the church, which is another corporation, not the Jesus of the cardinal and the bishop who would like it to be like this and like that, but a Jesus that you see, that speaks to you, that speaks to me, because after all, that's what his life was about. His life was not about, oh, well, was he born of a virgin? Is that really important? No. Was he born 14 generations after Abraham? No, that's not important to me either. What's important to me is the ideology that he presented. An ideology of love, consideration, building up of each other, not destroying each other. That's the ideology that's important. All the little details about, well, you know, if you pick up the mouse with your left hand, is that a sin? That's not what Jesus was about. And as we go reading these Gospels, we will see that we'll find a lot of little errors that in itself will help us to brush aside all the baloney of the little details and to find the Jesus that actually speaks to the poor, that actually speaks about not abusing each other, about caring for each other. See, that's the Jesus that nobody wants you to see. And this goes together with a little story I have about Christmas, which I'm going to tell you on the next one. Okay, but for today, I think this is enough. Read the gospel if you want to start it on your own. Make comments on this, and we will continue talking about this on the next chapters. Anyways, have a great day.